And there is. So welcome to Monday morning, you guys, February 22nd, our FIBC call. So excited to be here. We are rocking and rolling. I'm going to move out of the way and bring Michelle on. I know you guys are fired up about Cabo, so we got some more information for you. And Michelle she's sort of just become, Michelle, we got to start paying you for all the work that you do for all of our travel and stuff like that.
I think I've become like a travel agent, event coordinator, event planner. I mean, all of the above over the last four or 5 years. But it's okay. I actually kind of like love doing this too. So it kind of makes it fun. But yeah, so as you all know, I mean, Cabo is like now really on its way because of as of Saturday, the agent did start calling people to book. Now, show of hands, how many have gotten a call already on here that are booked? Not a lot. Not a lot. Okay. How many are waiting for a call? Oh, okay. So we're good. So they are calling. We do have a list of like 90 people to get through. So be patient. He is going to be calling this week. So you should be getting a call over the next couple of days. I think a lot is going to go today. We are first calling all of those that put in there that they are bringing a spouse, only because what we are doing, well, what's going kind of on now is that there are a few people that put on, and if this is some of your teammates that aren't bringing anyone, maybe reach out to them. I think we've already kind of let everyone know too that the price is based on double occupancy. So we're giving coaches a chance to find roommates if they want to team up with someone. Some want to just travel and be there alone, and that's okay too. So as of now, we are just calling all of those that put on there that are ready, that are bringing a spouse. Something to also look out for or to know is that I know a lot of us too, maybe we put that we weren't ready to book as of yet. Just make sure that when you are ready to book, you change your form, because that'll actually update our records and show that it'll go from a no to a yes. And that way the agent knows to now call you in order to book. So just know that's kind of, that's kind of happening too. Other than that, I know, let me see a few other things. As far as calling, I mean, if you guys have not, if you know now, obviously we're booking our own flights, because reason behind that, there has just been too many people coming from too many places. It made really, really hard for it to happen, and for to just be accommodating to everyone when it comes to flights. Just to give you guys a tip, and I posted this in the Cabo group yesterday, Tuesdays and Saturdays are the best days to book because it does bring the cost lower. And then I know there are some, and I'm just going to kind of share this with you guys because you guys are at that level, but there are some people that have been called already that are saying, oh, well, I'm going to book elsewhere, or I'm going to book through a different source because maybe they see it's like $50 cheaper. So I will say that in order to be part of all the festivities in Cabo, it does need to be booked with the travel agent. Okay. We are going to get special colored wristbands to show that we are part of a certain group. Okay. That colored wristband means that you are going to be entered into the parties. You're going to be entered into the trainings, things like that. Not only that, but the rate that we got, and you may see it $50 cheaper elsewhere, but the rate that we got is so much more included than what that rate will give you. Free transportation to and from the airport, free COVID tests in order to go home. And also, if we are still waiting on our COVID test and it has not returned by the time it is our flight, it is free stay until your COVID test comes back. And there's a COVID center on site as well. So lots of perks that are going to come with that. So be sure that let all of your people know that in order to be part of anything and everything, they do need to book with the travel agent. And I think that's it. I mean, we're getting excited. It's literally, if you think about it, it's like only like 6 weeks away. So it's crunch time. It's happening soon. So we hope that you are also working with your teams, because so many are still, up for grabs and qualifying this month, and just let them know if that's something that they want to do, help them walk through how to fill out the form, going through all that. So that way we can get them going.
Yeah. And what I love by that, it's we're also starting the beginning stages of the itinerary. And been getting a lot of questions. And in fact, I want anyone to ask any questions. If you have any questions that are more Michelle-based questions while we're on here, make sure to ask while we got her, because once she's off, she's going to stop answering our questions here pretty soon. But yeah, just with the itinerary, and folks have been asking, when do we come in? When do we come in? That Wednesday that we come in that's sort of a free day. That's just a travel day. And that's been a question that I've been getting. And then Thursday right now, tentatively, we're looking to have, our obviously our welcome brunch, and our FIBC sort of gathering in the afternoon, our cocktail hour. And I'm so excited for a lot of our EDs that we're working with right now to raise them up to FIBC, because I know that a lot of those guys want to be there and rub shoulders with all of you guys. But for all of us to make sure that we qualify. So Friday, it's going to be that day for the integrated nationals and above. And remember, all of these are tentative. And so we'll get more information out there, but that's going to be the boat day. We're literally just looking at it right now. And that's a day I'm really excited about. And I kind of want to talk about that a little bit today, because as of right now, as I pulled the report, there's not a lot of folks that have actually qualified for that. And so I want to talk about that today a little bit more in depth. So when we get off, we sort of have some tools that we can take back and start working with ourselves and with our team. But that's going to be that Friday. Then we want to do some team time. Then we might have some team building day. And then Saturday, we plan to have a training for everyone that day, afternoon school by the pool, and then that night sort of have a farewell part. Is that how you say it? So I see some questions that are coming up. If you guys can come off of mute and then ask them, that would be awesome. Since I'm on my phone, it's a little bit harder for me to control everything.
I'll come off first because I did have that quick question, because I did hear this confirmed, Michelle, that you said that if they do get a positive test while down in Cabo, one of the concerns was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to afford to be able to stay down there until I get back? So I was willing to kind of front that cost, like just to be safe. But I heard you say that they would be able to have accommodations.
So the free stay is for COVID test, like if they're waiting for their COVID test. Okay. That is a free stay if they're waiting. Now, if they test positive, I would talk to them. The travel agent is talking to people about COVID insurance. So there is a special insurance that you can get. It's really inexpensive, but it's a COVID insurance that you can get, that if for any reason you do test positive, the insurance will cover the entire stay while you are there. And I think it's a couple $100. So just go to your team and let them know to ask that to the travel agent, and he will provide them with all that info. And I see Joy, your question as well. So the reason why couples are being contacted first is because we already know that they're bringing someone, so the room is already said and done for. Now the singles, the ones that aren't going with anyone, we're giving them an opportunity. They've all been, the ones that are on the list have been contacted, that if they want to team up, we're giving them that time, because before the agent connects with you, he's going to want to know, who are you teaming up with, or who are you rooming with? So we're giving them that time to have a chance to team up with someone else before they are in contact.
So I just wanted to clarify, if we're teaming up with someone, it's not a discount, correct? It's the same price.
It's the same price. Now, if you want your room by yourself, it's more expensive. That price is based on double occupancy. So basically the $650 that's being charged for the room is based on double occupancy. Now, if it's a single occupancy, the price does slightly go up.
Do you know what that price is?
I do not. I think it's I want to say it's a little over 1,000.
Okay. I mean, I have a whole team of singletons that are building a business, and a lot of them have careers and kids, and they don't have the luxury of bringing someone. And it's almost like, I don't know, that's a little challenging.
Well, that's why we look at like other events. We look at convention, we look at events in the past that people always team up. They don't ever usually get a room by themselves. If they're traveling alone, they'll team up with another coach on their team, or they'll team up with another coach. And then that way there's two to a room, they're sharing a room, and they get that. So that's why, going to your team and letting them know, hey, and that's what, for example, we've done with our team. It's like, hey, this is the situation. This is the price. It's pretty normal for an all-inclusive resort to be priced out that way. It's always based on occupancy, the amount of people. And so we're asking them, we're saying, do you, just so you know, it is slightly more expensive, to room alone. Do you want a room alone? Or, there's other coaches on the team that are also not not going to be going with someone we can find someone for you to room with, or someone on your team, maybe they know each other. And so there's been some people like, hey, no, I'm all for it, I want a room alone. And then some people are like, yeah, I'm down to team up with someone. And so we've been kind of working alongside that.
So quick question. I guess I'm confused because in the beginning, I thought it was $830 a person, no matter what. Like if it was a couple, they paid $830 each for one room. If it was a singleton, they paid $830 for one room. That wasn't how it was in the beginning. Maybe I didn't understand that.
No, well, that was the goal. So that was with flights included. Unfortunately, because where everyone is coming from, that's why the changes have been made. Because we were trying to work with, there are people coming from tiny airports that's a lot more expensive than us that are coming from LA. Us coming from LA, it's like $230 round trip. Someone coming from Nashville is over $500 round trip. And so because we weren't able to really help everyone with their flights, we had to now do it separate, and we had to really work with the hotel to even lower the price. They gave us a really good deal according to what we had. So it was because originally that was the goal, to have price and flight, or flight and hotel included, but we just couldn't work that out because of where everyone was coming from.
Well, first of all, I didn't even know the flight was supposed to be included. So that's amazing. And thank you for doing everything. I just wanted to clarify because I was a little confused, but that's very helpful. So thank you.
And let me know too, if you have a lot of people that have already RSVP'd, and I can send you the list of those that put that they're not bringing anyone. That way you can maybe help if you know them and know, they'll get along great. And if you want to help, if they're okay rooming with someone, we can definitely put that over.
Yeah, I'll clarify. I do have a whole team that was like really excited to have their room to themselves, but I didn't realize, the cost difference. So yeah, I'll definitely follow up on that.
Okay, awesome. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Michelle. Definitely.
And don't worry, Joy, we blame Justin for not communicating very well no, I'm just kidding.
He did post it. I just don't think I was paying attention.
I'm just kidding.
You can only tag somebody 16 times. You know what I mean? It's all good.
Ashley,
Hey.
to answer your question, it's resort casual. If you want to dress up, definitely. But I'm sure, there's going to be nights that, when you go out to dinner, or even like the FIBC cocktail hour, if you want to get, I'm sure like the farewell dinner, if you want to get a little bit more dressy, but for the most part, the entire weekend's going to be resort casual.
So good. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, Jessica, I was just messing with you, but I love that. I love that we can be family and joke around with that, and that we can get clarity and take back to our teams and stuff. And Michelle and Emily, thank you guys so much for all the work. I think it's just going to be such a transformative week and weekend, and allow us to come back refreshed and ready for that next push for that next season. But honestly, all of us sat on this call not that long ago, and I threw it out there to the group, and I said, what were we missing in 2020? Do you guys remember that? And overwhelmingly, it was connection and being around people. And so we took that back to the drawing board, and we said, well, what can we do? And so, that's also a part of leadership, is taking the advice from, there's so many brilliant people here. Just look at you guys. You guys have been so successful just in life, and to bring all of those ideas and activities and thoughts here. And so I want to kind of dive in that a little bit today. Before I bring on Rachel, who has just, she's brilliant. And some of the things, I'm constantly thinking this. And if you guys remember, a couple months ago, I said, what's kind of the game plan? What are we shooting for in 2021? And I said, well, what if we sort of create a goal that we have like 40 or more people in Sundance in October? You guys remember that? You guys remember getting kind of jazzed up and fired up about that? And you're like, yeah, that sounds kind of cool. And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to need to be like integrated global or above. You guys remember that? And so my mind is sort of, now that we're in the future, and we're saying we act in future, or what is it? Something in the future and we act in the now. We lead from the future and we act in the now. So now that we're in the future and we're saying, okay, in October, let me just check in real fast. is that sort of a goal that many of you guys still have or desire or want? I should probably ask before I start saying all this other stuff. Because I don't want to obviously, and we try to be very careful. Actually, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. As I like working with like FIBCs and above, honestly, because you could just be more frank and be a little bit more real, and there's usually a lot more trust is built there, and it's just kind of easier. And so I feel like this is a group to where when we throw out goals and stuff like that, this is a group that's like, yeah, man, let's go for it. So one of my goals is, as I say, okay, well, that's what we want to do in the future, and now we're going to come back to the present to create that. I want to show how do we do that. And that was one of the reasons why I believe it was last week I showed basically my first couple, like maybe 15 months of coaching. Was that helpful, by the way? And I didn't want to just talk it. I wanted to show it. And then when I think what was fascinating is like we had Dan and Megan Valentine come on maybe later that week. And then Dan says the exact same thing. I don't know if you guys caught it, but I said in basically 3 months, I sponsored 36, 37 coaches, and then we went global and all this stuff. And then Dan was like, yeah, you can shorten time by doing this. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. And I was saying, even before they came on, I said, the numbers tend to be the numbers. So now that we know that, how do we now start to structurally and strategically do that? One of the things that I know to do, but we just haven't trained on very well, and I want to open it up to the group, is a couple of things that Rachel came to me just over the past couple of days, and she says, hey, we haven't done a great job with posturing, and we haven't done a great job with really working down the lines of businesses. And I think that that's an area that we can get really good at. We can build out a really solid series as well in both of those. And I want to utilize the brain power of this whole group. So Rachel, can you come off and just kind of talk about where your mind was and where it's at and where that even came up? And then I think we can open it up and let's just kind of brain dump and see what we can get down on paper. And in that way, we could do some really cool things with some trainings and helping all of us get to that next step to where, we're in Utah come October.
Absolutely. So I think the excitement in the trainings, when you notice that we put these trainings on Saturdays, and as I just kind of go through the thread and the feedback and what people are saying, they get very excited when we give them the posturing. I don't know if anyone else is picking up on that, where they're like, just wrote that down. Oh my gosh, that just was said in a way that I haven't thought to say it. And so I think it's a soft skills series that fits every size of organization. I think if you know to say it, do you know to teach it? And is there something that is readily available? So I think that is just a need that we're seeing in our organization, is we need to actually have a posture series, a soft skills series that would be a whole lot of fun that they can listen to over and over again. And it almost, some of the things that we're doing on our Monday night team calls, and I think it speaks volumes, is like a little bit of role playing where we're doing it incorrectly, apologetically, kind of hunkered down and making things real awkward when we say it. And then we show it on the flip where it's like, how about this? And they're just like laughing and going like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing the awkward one, So I think we almost have to, like, this is what it isn't. This is what it is. We could have a lot of fun and creativity. So we see this as a bottleneck in our organization that we need to help with soft skills. And then the second thing that we were talking about is really helping our FIBC teams and ourselves included in that. We are not masters at this by any means, is going down into their organization. I think there tends to be this frontline. These are my frontline coaches. These are my little chickies. And this is where I give all my time. And we don't exactly recognize when you're no longer stepping on the toes of that sponsoring coach, but you're preventing someone from being orphaned that has potential. And I think that working down can be tricky because you feel like you're stepping on toes, but at the same time, you recognize an able-bodied participant that's kind of drowning and not getting what they need. And so I feel like it's a skill that we need to all maybe lock arms on and figure out how we go 6 layers down. And it feels like a separate training. It really feels like it's more for those that want blended ED and beyond, and that are ready for that. So those are just 2 things in our organization that are holding us back from IPD. We see it, and we know what needs to happen. And we were just kind of sharing about what we need.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so funny because when we were talking about this just over voice text, I was like, yeah, I don't think we have done that. We've done some posturing stuff, but we haven't put a lot of investment into that and digging down lines either. So I want to build out something really cool, and that's where you guys come in. So my goal over the next few minutes here is just to get brain dumped. So I'm asking basically the how. So even with working down line, let's start there. So kind of what is the when and the what and the how do y'all do that? And I just want to get a whole bunch of stuff down so we can take it back and build out something really cool. So working down line, how do you do that? How do you do that? You guys just come off of mute and explain.
I think for me and for our organization, like 2 of my strongest EDs are 3 levels down. And I think that buy-in from those 1 and 2 level coaches below you, and that recognition of, look, I'm here to help you build your organization. And then personally just reaching out and kind of offering that. I offer half-hour time blocks each week to any coach in my organization, any coach. I don't care where they're at in the whole entire organization, but I reach out individually to them. Especially, I mean, we can recognize who the diamonds in the roughs are. We can recognize they're the ones that are integrated. They're the ones that are showing up for the trainings. They're the ones that are giving feedback in our chat groups, things like that. For me, it's recognizing their strengths, kind of utilizing their strengths and integrating them into our smaller group chat trainings and things like that. So it's number 1, it's getting the buy-in from those frontline coaches. Look, hey, I'm going to reach out to your level 2, level 3 coaches. I want to help you. I want to help you and I want to incorporate you and include you in that training process. But we recognize, and you recognize this person, and actually asking them, who are your runners? Who are your diamonds in the rough in your organization? Because I want to partner with them as well. So but getting that buy-in from that frontline coach has proven to be a challenge at times, but when it really pays off, it's very valuable, at least for our organization, it has been.
I know for us, we look at numbers. Numbers do not lie. So when you are looking at your, end of month numbers, early month, whatever, what everyone's projected, and we see those high numbers from a coach that we don't even know who they are, and they're like 6, 7, 8 letters deep, that is when we see, okay, who is this person who, and then we go to their profile, we go look at their previous, how long they've been coaching, their last few months numbers. And then when we start to see that those are some big jumps, that's when we reach out to that mentor team, right? We reach out to them, probably not the coach right above, maybe a mentor team, maybe a FIBC above. And we let them know, hey, this is a rising star. This is someone that you want to put your eggs in a basket, right? Put all your eggs in a basket on this one, because let me tell you, there's potential there if you're seeing those strong numbers. And so really seeing that, because one thing that we've learned is you cannot depend on coaches in between rising stars. You just can't. There are some levels 5s and 6 that we work with, because maybe the level 3, 4s are not really there. They don't show up on trainings. They're just they're just breathing, right? And so we don't want that rising star, that potential next IPD, to go away because they're not getting trained properly, or they're not getting the support that they deserve. So sometimes we'll swing in there and we'll take over, right? Because you never know what's going to happen those 2 levels. If they're not showing up, we're not going to drag them, right? We're not going to be like, hey, you've got this person. Maybe it might excite them, but we definitely let them know. It's just sometimes it's up to them what they're willing to do with it. They may not do anything, and they may just let them just continue. Well, if we let them just continue, what's going to happen? If they don't have the support, they're going to go away too. So it's really about looking at your numbers and just seeing, like, I mean, we always look, obviously at the end of the month, we look at everyone in our organization, you know, our spreadsheet, we look at everyone and see where they ended up. In the beginning of the month, we see where all of these people, where they projected. And then if there's some really high numbers of names that we don't recognize, we go do some research and we go see, you know, their past numbers. We go see how long they've been coaching. We go take a look at their Facebook. We reach out to that mentor team. And, you know, sometimes we'll actually, like, we'll be out to reach out and be like, hey, you know, so I know that's really helped for us, working literally, I mean, up to 7, 8 levels down.
I think too, one thing that we're noticing is the compensation is not always clear, where some of our coaches will say, well, I don't want to build their business for them. And we're like, okay, this scenario, looking at your back office, you're leaving your business exposed actually. And here's how, so financially, right? And so there's a lot of, I think, education as well. One thing that we're doing that I should have mentioned is power hours. That was our solution for right now. I opened up my schedule Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And I'm working with anyone in our organization that wants to go. And I'm getting granular in there. And it is sacrificial. It's a lot of soft skills, but holy moly, have we seen that there's a lot of stuff that they were not getting. And it's really exposed a lot of the stuff that they're not getting, sometimes due to fault of their own, not taking ownership, and other times just because we may have thrown a little bit too much at them all at once and they weren't able to take it all in. It just takes time. So that's one thing that we are doing right now, is moving some of our FIBC calls off our calendar and making more time for trainings and things like that, like power hours.
Real quick, I know we're kind of running out of time, but you know, as you guys are sharing, some of you, you know, your presidentials, your globals, you have many layers deep, 7, 8, but I don't know how many people are in, you know, kind of where Guy and I are at. You know, we have a team that we're growing. And so one of the transitions in mindset as you're starting to develop your own personal leadership skills is really like what Rachel said earlier. You know how to tell, do you know how to teach? And so there has to be that mindset shift for us. We're like, okay, so Nick and Kirsten are having a weekly leadership call with us. So we need to do that. So now we have our coaches that are really committed to being ED. You know, they're on fire. So we've identified that group and they're in a group together. And we do a weekly meeting with that little group. They inspire each other. They're all on a mission to get to goals. So we may have only one ED right now, but we've got 4 layers deep in coaches. And so we're trying to identify them and make time to really help our coaches who are levels 1 and 2 and 3 replicate exactly what we're doing while we're kind of learning to do it too. And so we don't want to wait till you've got a bunch of coaches beneath you before you're training those coaches to have those weekly support groups with their coaches. And then, you know, we also, you know, we're not only are we meeting with our ED or bus team, we call them, but we also have a couple of those coaches who have rising stars that Michelle just spoke about. And so we are telling our coaches, hey, what's the rock in your calendar that you're meeting each week with your coaches? What day are you doing that? We want to check in on you. And then we're trying to do at least a monthly call with each of our coach and their team of coaches. So we're really trying to replicate these meetings where we're pouring into these coaches within every layer of our organization so that they're strong. And it's not just going deep, but it's going wide and strong at the same time.
Yeah. Do I have time to say something real quick? I know we're kind of. So something that I'm really finding with this idea of passing skills down into other layers is that we are missing, like, we've got a whole lot of action steps. And I think we're great with how to do it. Get them into the life book or get them on the calls and all that. But I think the skills that the coaches are lacking a lot of time is tact with people skills and leadership. I think they're really struggling with that, because I'll tell coaches, all you have to do is this. And so then they go and they carry out those tasks, and it's very like cold and like uninspiring. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder why they're not doing whatever it is, you know, that you're trying to get them to do. I think that sounds bad, but but whatever they said they wanted to do, they're not doing, because you're not inspiring them. You're not awakening them. You're not leading them, and you need help in your tact. So that was just all I wanted to say. I'm finding that to be a huge problem that I'm seeing with some of my coaches, is like, how do I how do I not just train the action steps, but like train the not just what, but the how is what I'm saying. So that's all.
Hey, Jamil. So the question was how to identify who to work with, correct?
It was a broad question.
I'm making sure I heard it because I was sitting away from the computer. I apologize. So what Michelle said was super spot on in the fact that what we do is you'll look at your new coaches report when your organization is getting to a point where you're bringing on coaches, you have no idea who they are. You have to be looking at that report and be looking to see who's new, when they came on, and then reaching out to the mid-level people that are the interim conduit in between, right? The making sure that skill sets are being transferred, that meetings are happening, that you're making sure that there's contact being made. But especially when you see the numbers, as Michelle said, and you've got this new coach that comes on and you see a percentage jump in a team, you immediately need to reach out to that team and offer any assistance you can beyond what you are. Let them really feel that you are going to make whatever time available for them, meaning not that you have to shut down your life, but you're going to be looking for the jump in numbers, because as Michelle stated, when you see someone, their percentage goes up or their revenue generated goes up. And I'm just speaking from a business point of view, so forgive me. Remember, the heart work's always there. But when the revenue jumps up like it does, then by all means, you want to make sure to taproot into that. And I offer no apologies for taprooting. I might let someone know, that I have, if I'm seeing that skill sets aren't being transferred the right way, I'm definitely going to taproot down. But there should be no bones picked when you're trying to build and develop an organization. There's no apologies needed. When, like Jamil, if you step in with someone that's in our organization or someone does, I go, hey, sweet. Congratulations on getting Jamil's time. How did it go? What'd you learn? I don't go, oh my gosh, like, how could you? And then no way, man, he's helping to build my organization.
And I think it's important to set up that expectation as we're building these leaders that, hey, we coach as a team. So if I step in, don't be insulted. Like, it's to help, there shouldn't be any apology or, this feeling of division.
Yeah, definitely. And everyone, awesome points, very, very awesome points, extremely valid. I just was thinking, like, Michelle, you nailed it when you said what you said. It's taken many a meeting with Josh for me to wrap my head around the numbers. But I have finally realized that being a CEO is more than, it's more than just the report. It's the action behind the information you're accessing.
Yeah, this is good stuff, isn't it? That's why I love throwing out questions like this, because then it also reminds you of stuff that you kind of know, but have gotten away from. Have you guys heard some of those things too? And it's a very skillful practice. I think this idea of posturing and this idea of working levels deep. Like, I remember the first time I had a mentor tell me that I could do it. And I was like, you could do that? That's okay? That's not breaking any rules, or, so I think that this has been really good. Rachel, thank you so much for bringing this up. I got a ton of notes. I know that we'll brainstorm more as well. Next time, let's talk about posturing a little bit more so we can get that out there. Michelle, thank you for being our quintessential travel guru and making sure that we're well taken care of and having fun and everything. And I appreciate this group. We're in the last week, basically, of the month. Wow, we are in the last week. Both of my sons have birthdays this week too. They couldn't wait to do that in the first of next month. They got to do it in the last week of the month. That's cool. So run your reports, run your numbers, know who you're running with. There's lots of premieres that haven't processed. Make sure that you're looking at that stuff so you can go to your team and say, hey, these premieres haven't processed today. You want to go back and really kind of investigate and see what's up. That's volume that's rather free that, you know, you may be missing out on. For those of you guys who are really excited and inspired about Cabo, really get in there and work with your people who are wanting to qualify. You got a lot of people that want to qualify for executive director to go. You have a lot of folks that want to raise up to FIBC to be part of, you know, the festivities that are happening there. And then let's make sure that we are leading, you know, ourselves and getting to where we want to be too. Last thing I'll say is this. We have a really big goal for October, so work backwards. So if I know I want to be sort of, let's just call it integrated global, integrated presidential or whatnot by October, now we want to work backwards and just really dive into getting those, reaching those figures. And I think I'm so grateful for Dan and Megan coming on, because you really can shorten time in this business if you get really focused on several numbers. And honestly, probably the biggest one is how many new coaches am I sponsoring and how many new coaches are coming into this organization of mine. If that number is not growing, if that number is not growing, we will not grow. And I try to say it as sort of gently sometimes as I can, but sometimes as fearful as I can as well. But those are the metrics that you really want to hone in on and make sure that that's raising, you know, on a monthly basis. I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Let's have a great day. Thank you for all that you do. We'll talk to you soon.